Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, it's never quite enough, like you're constantly performing, trying to prove yourself, win attention, or gain someone's approval just to feel a fleeting moment of acceptance? You smile when you don't feel like it, nod when you disagree, post something hoping for likes, validation, applause just to feel like you matter. But what if I told you that this invisible need to be liked is the very thing robbing you of your power, your peace, and your sense of self? Here's the truth. The more you chase approval, the more you become a prisoner to opinions that are not your own. And that's why the greatest philosophers in history, Socrates, Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, all warned us to stop chasing approval. Because to them, this wasn't a small flaw, it was a fundamental weakness in the soul. Epictetus sighed, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Think about that. Be content to be misunderstood. That's how free the Stoics aim to be, not only detached from praise, but also undisturbed by judgment. They believed that needing approval is not a personality trait, it's a spiritual sickness, because if your peace depends on how others perceive you, then you've handed them the reins to your inner life. This video is a deep dive into why approval seeking is one of the greatest traps of modern life, and how ancient philosophy holds the antidote. We'll journey through Stoic wisdom and explore how these ancient thinkers taught us to care more about our character than our reputation. Marcus Aurelius, writing in his private meditations never intended to be published, reminded himself daily, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." That contradiction, still alive in our modern world, is the root of so much anxiety. You can spend your entire life chasing applause and still feel empty, because approval is never permanent. It fades, it changes, and no matter how many compliments you collect, you'll always be one criticism away from collapse if you haven't built strength within. So how do we break this addiction? It starts with understanding that approval is external, and Stoicism teaches us to focus only on what is within our control. Your choices, your values, your response, that's yours. But what others think, say, or expect of you, that belongs to them, let it go. This mindset shift is the foundation of Stoic thought. Divide everything in life into what's within your control and what's not. Then devote your energy only to the former. This concept, the dichotomy of control, is like a sword that cuts through confusion and gives you clarity. When you stop caring about the opinions of people who don't walk your path, your mind becomes clear and your actions become powerful. The Stoics didn't preach isolation. They didn't say, "Don't care about anyone." They said, "Don't be owned by anyone's opinion of you." There's a difference. And if we look at modern psychology, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy, which is rooted in Stoic principles, it reinforces the same truth. Your thoughts shape your emotions, not the other way around. If you constantly think, "I need their approval to feel good," you create anxiety. But if you train your mind to say, "I act according to my values, not their expectations," you build resilience. So let's make this practical. If you're stuck in people-pleasing, ask yourself, what do I gain from this? Temporary safety, avoidance of conflict. Is it worth betraying yourself to avoid someone else's disapproval? Every time you silence your truth to protect someone else's ego, you lose a part of yourself. The Stoics would call this a loss of integrity, and integrity, to them, was everything. Think of it this way. When you no longer fear disapproval, you become dangerous in the best way. You're no longer manipulable, you're no longer desperate. You're no longer chasing crumbs of praise, you're full on your own terms. Imagine that power, to speak your truth without apology, to walk away from disrespect without regret, to live with dignity, even when misunderstood. That's what Stoicism builds, not arrogance, but inner authority. The goal is not to be cold, it's to be grounded, to care, but not depend, to love, but not lose yourself. In this video, we'll also explore how social media has weaponized our approval-seeking instincts, how likes, follows, shares, and comments have become modern-day applause that trains us like lab rats. Every beep and buzz rewards conformity, not authenticity. The Stoics would have warned us, if your self-worth rises and falls with your notifications, you are no longer free. Freedom, in their view, was not just political, it was psychological. And approval addiction is one of the most common chains we wear without even knowing it. But there's a way out. Negative visualization is a Stoic practice where you imagine losing the very thing you're clinging to, in this case, approval. What if no one praised you again? What if you were misunderstood forever? Could you still stand tall in your values? If yes, then you're free. If no, then that's where the work begins. Through journaling, reflection, and philosophical study, the Stoics trained their minds like warriors. They weren't emotionally numb, they were emotionally disciplined. And that's the lesson here. Approval isn't evil, but dependency on it is. Approval may come, and it may go, but your self-respect should not sway with the crowd. So here's your challenge for the next 7 days. Resist the urge to explain yourself, justify your actions, or seek validation for your choices. Instead, live quietly, intentionally, and let your values speak louder than your words. Let the silence test your strength. If you find that difficult, good. That means you're facing the exact part of you that needs to be strengthened. And over time, that silence will become your peace. Because when you no longer need to be seen, you can finally see yourself. And that's what the philosophers were after, not fame, not approval, but truth, the raw, quiet truth of who you are. When the applause fades, if you've made it this far, you already have what it takes to begin the journey. So stop chasing approval. Start cultivating clarity. Choose depth over popularity. Choose truth over image. Choose freedom over applause. If this message speaks to you, hit subscribe to join a community that values wisdom, not noise, where we explore timeless philosophy, mental clarity, and inner mastery. And don't stop here, watch our next video. How to stay calm when people test you. Stoic techniques. Because learning how to stay calm under pressure is the next step to becoming truly uncheckable.